You're watching CFJC and E, Everything Entertainment.
Tonight, residents of a legal complex forced to look elsewhere.
So I really don't know what we're going to do. No idea.
Open for business in China.
We're really excited about this, and we hope that Kamloops businesses use it.
And city emphasizes going green.
But we're not really going to make sure that we do things that make it better.
The CFJC News at 6:30 with Susan Edgell.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. Last evening, City Council voted down an application to rezone a Valley View apartment building. The building had been illegally converted from 4 suites to 12 and had numerous building code violations. The owner has several options as to what he can do with his building, but the 14 tenants have the difficult task of finding somewhere else to live. As Tim Peeling reports tonight, their plight highlights the lack of affordable housing in Kamloops.
What do we do? Where do we go? And then if we do get put up in a hotel, then what do we do with all our stuff, our belongings?
Patrina Goss didn't get much sleep last night. The resident of 2575 Thompson Drive has to move, and she's worried about where she's going to end up living.
I'm born and raised in Kamloops. I've been here a long time. I've never seen such a housing shortage as there is now in town. So I really don't know what we're going to do. No idea.
All the city councilors know the shortage of housing in this town.
Goss and some of her neighbors met this morning to talk about their options. Last night, City Council rejected a rezoning application by the building's owner. So the 14 residents now have to find somewhere else to live. The dramatic shortage of affordable housing in Kamloops means they'll be lucky to find anything, and certainly not for the $550 they pay now.
It's going to be tough. There's not really anywhere to, there's a lot of places out there that are expensive. We could afford it, but then we'd basically be giving most of our income to rent. There'd be no extras for the few pleasures that we do have.
That's the kind of housing that we have the very least of. And
Tina Lang was the only councillor to vote for the rezoning. She says the numerous building code violations were a concern, but the overwhelming need for affordable housing was more important to her.
I can't just sort of ignore the fact that we don't have enough rentals in this city. We're at below 0.5% vacancy rate. It is extremely tough, and at all levels. It's hard to find affordable housing. It's hard to find even expensive housing.
Well, I knew it was going to happen.
Richard
anyway.
Foreman is lucky. He's found somewhere to live, but it's not ideal.
My plan is to now move to Heffley Lake, because it's the only place that I can afford, which means driving, 42 kilometers each way to work every day.
But Goss says she hasn't found anything that will work for her. She says it's not fair that she's being forced out of her home when there's nowhere in the city for her to go.
I feel emotionally a wreck right now because what do we do?
Kamloops is opening its doors to the world, or at least to one of the most populated countries in the world, China. The city has recently opened an office in Beijing in the hopes of encouraging more business between the two countries. And the city is offering its services to help you get involved. For investors living in Beijing, this promotional video is the first glimpse they'll see of our city. It's a video that's been put together in the hopes of attracting foreign investment and new business opportunities to Kamloops.
We're just really excited, and we hope to see some business out of this.
In an effort to encourage stronger business links between China and Kamloops, our city has recently opened an office right in downtown Beijing and is encouraging businesses here to use the office to develop new relationships there.
If they're looking at China, maybe to attract, to find a new supplier, a more cost-effective supplier, to find a new market, they've got this great service. It doesn't cost them anything. And we're really excited about this, and we hope that Kamloops businesses use it.
The city will even provide a free translator and set up meetings with prospective investors. You may be wondering why all the fuss over China. It turns out this country of 1.3 billion people is one of our city's largest export markets.
Domtar pulp mill, other than the U.S., it's their second largest market, and it's growing. It will be their #1 export market, they tell me, in just a few years. We know that TRU is one of Canada's leading universities overseas. China is a huge market for them.
Just the students from China alone bring in $40 million in economic spin-offs, and their families are also looking to invest.
We just had a lady, actually, late 2005, come here to visit her son, and she bought 14 townhomes in Sahali, so it was quite shocking, the potential.
And if you're interested in learning more about investment opportunities in China, you can contact the city at www.venturekamloops.com or phone 828-6818. The City of Kamloops has decided to hold off on constructing an animal waste composting site at Cinnamon Ridge, but that doesn't mean it won't be going ahead. City Council is still very interested in proceeding with the composting plant, but they want to make sure they pick the right location. The plant will take in animal waste from slaughterhouses in our region. Cinnamon Ridge was the original location picked for the plant, but with the upcoming airport expansion and development at Tranquille, the area has been decided it's too busy.
Wherever the pilot project is, we want that to be the permanent location should this be a go-ahead, and we don't want to be moving it around. So we thought that there were too many unknowns with the transportation corridors to really pick this site up front, and then we needed to slow it down a little bit and go back to the drawing board.
It will take several weeks for a special committee to choose the right location. Randy Deal says while it may not be the most desirable plant to have in the city, it's something staff plans on supporting.
We strongly believe in the project. We think it's the right thing to do, and we'd like to see it happen. It's just a matter of making sure that the pilot project's location has the potential to be a permanent location, and it's optimal given all the factors.
Okay. Kamloops City Council has adopted a climate action charter. Signed in agreement with the provincial government and the Union of BC Municipalities, the charter is designed to reduce the city's environmental impact and, as Kelsey Woodward reports, serve as an example for residents of the city and the province.
You know, it's not a very big step. It is a step, but it's not a very big one. Really.
That's the reaction from a local environmentalist to the city's plan to adopt a climate action charter. In the charter, the city operations will become carbon neutral by 2012. It will create a greenhouse gas profile of the Kamloops area and work towards creating a more compact community.
What we'll need to do is look at our entire operations, meaning our fleet and our buildings, and look at the carbon footprint we have at the moment and how we can get to carbon neutrality.
To become more carbon neutral, the city plans to increase the number of hybrid and smart cars in their fleet and use biodiesel. They also plan on using alternative methods to heat and cool city buildings and plant more trees on city property.
I think this causes us to be really creative and maybe come up with some things that we hadn't thought of before.
The city has already taken steps towards carbon neutrality, constructing energy-efficient buildings like the Field House, which is heated and cooled with geothermal technology, rather than using conventional systems. But Madsen says this just isn't enough.
Carbon neutral is what it is neutral. So we're not really making, we're going to make sure things aren't going to get worse, but we're not really going to make sure that we do things that make it better.
The charter was voted in unanimously by City Council, but Councillor Peter Millibar says he does have some reservations.
I guess my one concern was that potentially some policymakers down in Victoria could run with it if everyone signed on and just assume that we agree with everything unilaterally.
I think we're all cognitive of the concern that we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. But at the same time, you have to have lofty goals, otherwise, really, you don't move forward.
The Climate Action Charter isn't legally binding, but instead is a guideline to follow for future planning. Kelsey Woodward, CFJC News.
Traffic on the Trans-Canada Highway bypass was backed up for about 3 kilometers today, stretching all the way from the Summit Drive exit east to Valley View. The congestion was the result of a collision between 2 tractor-trailer units. The driver of one truck had run out of fuel, and while he was placing reflectors on the road, the driver of a second truck slammed into the stalled vehicle. The impact caused the second trailer to spill some of its load onto the highway.
There was minor injuries sustained by the driver of the first vehicle, and again, no indication of alcohol, speed or anything along the lines, other than the driver, in all likelihood, wasn't paying full attention to what he should have been doing.
The driver of the second truck is being charged with driving without due care and attention. This morning, another trailer was being loaded with the remaining contents from the damaged tractor trailer unit. Coming up next in the news, a new family portrait of Canadians released by Stats Canada. And today's high in Kamloops, 25 degrees. We've got more sunshine on the way.
Pascal Rebreau, chef.
Some surprising numbers released today on what's happening in our Canadian homes. New census results reveal we're marrying less, that dads are the lone parent more often, and that our kids are taking longer to leave home. And in many BC communities, the term Mr. Mom is striking a familiar ring.
You okay? All right.
As she walks away, it seems she's just fine. But being a single dad of 2 little girls, Michael Pope's learning to read the signs.
Something's troubling her.
The Nanaimo man is one of an increasing number of Mr. Moms here in Nanaimo and across Canada.
Well, I guess it's a social phenomenon. And maybe it's part of, and I'm speculating, but maybe it's part of the fact that men are getting more in touch with their feelings. So.
According to Statistics Canada, 1 in 5 single-parent families is now headed by a man. But the numbers in the Harbour City are even higher than the national average. In 2006, there were 1,135 single lone parent dads in Nanaimo. It's an increase of nearly 12% from 5 years before. The national increase was only 10%.
It does surprise me, yeah.
The numbers reveal the face of the traditional Canadian family is changing, that it has been for years.
Go run and play. Go.
At this Nanaimo daycare, only 7 of these 25 kids has their original mother and father at home.
It started back in our young generation and it's just progressed over the last 20 years to where there's no dominating family unit anymore.
But Mike Pope's committed to making the family he does have work.
It's challenging, but very rewarding. You know, I don't know what it's great. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
BC lottery retailers are coming under closer scrutiny following an ombudsman's report and an audit that found poor security around lotto tickets. The government's gaming branch has hired 16 new staff members and reassigned 4 others to help register and monitor retailers. A report and a subsequent audit found too many retailers were winning prizes and there were poor controls over the handling of winning tickets. As a result of those reports, any lottery retailer claiming a prize of $1,000 or more must claim their winnings in person at a lottery office. In health news tonight, more and more people with a terminal disease are choosing to spend their last days in hospice. With hospice care, you can spend your remaining time surrounded by people you love. Vivian Williams tells us more in today's Medical Edge.
Remember this one?
Esther Matthews is dying of cancer. But instead of living her last months in a hospital or nursing home, she's at home with her daughter Joan and son-in-law Lauren.
I'm happy I don't have to go to a nursing home.
Thanks to hospice care. Hospice is not an attempt at prolonging life or hastening death. It's a philosophy of care that allows the patients and their families to make the dying process as positive as possible.
We've had this beautiful time together, and I know now that I could never have done this myself.
Hospice addresses medical, physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. Doctors, nurses, social workers, chaplains, and volunteers work together to make sure patients maintain dignity and control. Melvin Pepper's wife Lorna chose hospice when she was dying of cancer. Now Melvin's a hospice patient too. His 86-year-old body is failing.
All right, let me just check your heart here.
3 days a week, a nurse visits him.
When she leaves, that I don't feel empty. You know, I feel like I'm full to the brim of love.
Melvin also gets visits from Jim, a hospice volunteer who admits it can be tough to grow close to someone who's nearing end of life.
Rather than emphasizing the loss, I think we try to emphasize making the days we have left as good as they possibly can be.
I remember my early days of nursing when people died alone in a room, and I always thought, this is not right. And now with hospice, where people can be in an environment like this, with their families, surrounded by love, surrounded by friends, and be in their own home is wonderful.
For Medical Edge, I'm Vivian Williams.
For information on hospice care, you can log on to our website at CFJC-TV.com and click on the Medical Edge link. It is time now to check in on the local weather forecast. It's looking really nice heading towards the weekend. We'll take a look now at the map of the province. Look at that. That tells the picture indeed. Beautiful sunshine, and it's going to stay that way for quite a few days. Temperatures hitting about 20 degrees for Vancouver tomorrow, 23 in Victoria. Heading into the interior, we'll see 23, 24, even 25 degrees in some areas of the Kelowna, Kamloops areas. And in Calgary tomorrow, a little cooler in the teens. Prince George seeing some nice weather, and Kitimat doing nicely with 21 tomorrow. As we take a look now at the satellite map, it's looking really good in terms of the next 3 or 4 days. High pressure will dominate for the next few days. That little band of cloud you see pushing in slowly off from the left, off the Pacific, could result in a few clouds and showers possibly towards the end of the weekend. But who knows? By then, the whole thing could be just spreading out and turns out to be nothing too serious. So for the next 3 to 4 days, we're certainly in for more pleasant weather, lots of sunshine and temperatures for the Kamloops area in the mid-20s. 5-day forecast looks like this. For Quesnel, we'll see 21 degrees tonight, moving up to 23 by Friday. More sunshine for Saturday. Sunday, a little bit dicey at this point. We could see some clouds and showers, highs of 17 degrees. And in the Caribou, 19 degrees for tomorrow. Sunshine will dominate right through until Saturday. Again, there could be a hiccup on Sunday where a few clouds and showers are likely, highs of 18 degrees. Fraser Canyon seeing sunshine for the next 3, hitting 26 tomorrow. A small decrease in the way the temperatures are. Sunday, we'll see 19 for the high with a few clouds moving in. Nicola Valley will see 3 days of straight sunshine, 25 tomorrow, 27 degrees on Friday. And in the North Thompson, we'll see 23 degrees tomorrow, warming up to 25 for Friday, shaping up to be a nice looking weekend. A few clouds on Sunday, not expecting much though in the way of rain. And in the Sun Peaks area, we'll see 19 degrees tomorrow and a pair of 18s for Friday and Saturday. Beautiful sunshine dominating. Similar again for the Shuswap. Temperatures very nice and a bit above normal for this time of the year. 24 tomorrow and 26s for Friday and Saturday. Finally now for Kamloops, it's looking gorgeous. We're expecting to see 26 degrees for tomorrow. That's still above normal for this time of the year. Friday as well, sunshine. Saturday, sunshine. Sunday and Monday at this point, we could see a few clouds roll in, but again, not looking too serious at this point. Highs of 22 degrees by Sunday. It is time now for a quick break. Earl is in next with sports. Stay with us.
Exceptional view, exceptional cuisine. Chapters Viewpoint Restaurant. Your table is waiting. All meals are made from scratch with the freshest ingredients. For breakfast, for lunch, or an enchanting evening. You'll be impressed with our famous New Mexican selection, as well as our banquet facilities. All complemented with the best view of the city. Chapters Viewpoint Restaurant. Your table is waiting.
You can't go wrong when you shop where the professionals shop. Roy's Hardwoods has it all. Builders and renovators alike know you can't beat Roy's Hardwoods for service and selection. From quality hardwood flooring to cabinet and exotic hardwoods. From stair rails to moldings. From hinges to handles. From tools to finishes. And everything in between. You can't go wrong when you shop where the professionals shop. Roy's Hardwoods, 773 Victoria Street. Just down from the Memorial Arena.
Here at the
Last season, the Blazers put up 40 wins, which was their most since the 1989-99 season, 1998-99 season, when they had 48 and Mark Habscheid took them all the way to the Western League Final. After years of mediocrity, it has been a work in progress and patience to try and turn things around. Last season at least gave an indication that there might be a light at the end of that tunnel. After 6 exhibition games, that light is shining a little brighter. And while it takes a collective effort to turn the corner, there is one player who has been a pleasant surprise in this camp. With a 7-1 win over the Chilliwack Bruins in their most recent outing, the Kamloops Blazers are 5-1 in exhibition. This has been their best preseason in years.
The level of play that we've had so far, I haven't seen that
you know, since in my time here in Kamloops, the level that we're playing at right now in preseason.
Clark's philosophy has been to build the nucleus through the draft. The team's first-round picks from each of the last 4 years are with the team, and each is expected to be a key part of that nucleus this season. That includes 2005 first-round draft pick Tyler Shattuck. Last year as a rookie, the Salmon Arm native had 7 goals in 58 games. In 6 preseason games this month, he already has 5.
We had Tyler last year as a 16-year-old, and he still had a little bit of baby fat on him, and you can tell that this year he came to camp, he's lean and he's bigger and he's stronger and he's pretty focused. I think for me, I would say that he's probably the most focused player we might have.
I went on a pretty strict diet, which helped me a lot. I mean, my body fat percentage was up a bit too high last year. I mean, just a lot of cardio work, weight work, I mean, all the same things, but just putting in that extra effort to get better.
Shattuck was given extra motivation this summer to come to camp focused and ready for the season. It came from Hockey Canada when they passed on Shattuck for the under-18 selection camp.
I mean, that was a big motivation for me. I mean, I don't know, in my opinion, I thought I should have been there, but I mean, I guess Hockey Canada made a different choice, but yeah, in my mind, I should have been there, so.
So he came to camp in the best of shape, fit and ready to play. On the line with Brock Nixon and Travis Dunstall, the unit produced 9 points in 1 exhibition game. Shattuck's 5 goals leads the team in the preseason, and he's a package at 6'3", 190 pounds.
He's a smart player. He can play the physical game. He skates very well. That's probably the biggest thing for me is he's improved his skating quite a bit with the workouts that he's done this year. So no, he's a real power guy with, you know, at 6'3", he's just got some size to him, which, you know, he'll be able to finish some checks as well.
I just want to put up some numbers and help my team win. Hopefully we can get past a couple rounds in the playoffs. I mean, second-year guy, I got lots of confidence going here, so hopefully I can just bring that onto the ice and put up some numbers.
The Blazers have made one of 2 goaltending decisions they have to make. 16-year-old John Groenheid has been sent to the Merritt Centennials. That still leaves overage Dustin Butler, 18-year-old Justin Leclerc, and 16-year-old James Priestner. Finnish forward Juuso Puustinen has also been sent back to the Blazers by the Calgary Flames. Toronto Maple Leafs forward Mark Bell is facing 6 months in jail and at least 15 games on the sidelines. Bell has been suspended for 15 games by the league after his recent conviction on drunk driving and hit-and-run charges. Gary Bettman says he let Bell off so lightly because of the way that he has responded to treatment under the league's substance abuse program for more than a year. But Bell and the Leafs don't see it as a light suspension.
I think the length of the suspension was a surprise. I haven't been in contact with the league until about 48 hours ago, but you know, I respect the decision the commissioners made, and I look forward to moving on in a positive manner.
I wasn't expecting the degree of severity. You know, certainly have a great deal of respect for the commissioner's position and position to dole out that kind of authority and discipline. But I thought it was not what we expected.
Bell's suspension won't take effect until he is cleared by doctors who run the NHL substance abuse program, and then after the coming season, he'll also have to still serve a 6-month jail sentence imposed by a California court. Rob Ramage is going to trial next week. The former Toronto Maple Leafs captain is facing 5 criminal charges, including drunk driving, from a deadly 2003 car crash. That crash killed Keith Magnuson, another former NHL player. Ramage and Magnuson were returning from a funeral when the crash happened. Canada has opened play at the Women's World Cup of Soccer in China. Its first game was against Norway. Norway ranked 4th in the world. Canada is 9th, but the Canadians came out charged up looking to pull off an upset. And they scored the first goal when Candace Chapman hit the net in the 32nd minute. Canada held that lead until crumbling under the pressure in the second half. That's where Norway scored 2 goals to pull away for a 2-1 win. It means Canada is now facing a must-win game this weekend against Ghana if it wants to advance to the second round of the World Cup.
A quick look at the one-day forecast, dipping down to 8 degrees tonight. A beautiful day ahead tomorrow, 26 degrees. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'll be back later this evening with the CFJC News at 11. We hope to see you then. Have a great evening.
Help Country Garden.